Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Week 2 edition of Dude Pigskin for the 2019 season. I'm your host, Tyler, here with my co-host, Payton. It was an interesting week this week, I think. It was a lot of things went down that I think nobody expected. And we're going to go ahead. Yeah, a lot of bounce backs for sure. And a lot of great falls from Glory. And we're going to start talking about the redraft league. First matchup we're going to discuss is my matchup against Alec. And right out the gate, we have the winner of the Isaiah Crowell Crowho Nation Slam Sedan Award for the best running back of the week. And that's Dalvin Cook, who dropped 28.1 points for me against Alec. And he's just an animal.
Week 2's rushing leader, dude.
Oh, yeah. Week 2.
20 attempts for 154 yards. Gnarly.
Oh, yeah. Absolute freak show. And Bob Woods and David Johnson just absolutely blew it for me. Robert Woods with 6.2. David Johnson with 8.4. Oh, by the way, I beat Alec 115.72 to 110.86. I move up to 2-0. Alec falls to 0-2. So rough start for Alec, but I think he'll pull it together.
I wouldn't know how that feels.
You and Matt Rich definitely know how that feels. Talk more about Matt Rich later. But I was down 4 points against Alec going into the Falcons game against the Eagles. Only player left was my Matt Bryant, and he came out in the first 5 minutes of the game, kicked a 50-yarder, boom, 5 points, beat Alec. I thought it was going to be a little stressful, thought he was going to be kicking some PATs, maybe taking a little while to reach that 4 points, but it went down quick.
Went down quick.
For sure.
You've got New England's new reception vulture and AB on Alec's team now.
Yeah, AB got way more work than I think anyone thought that he was going to get.
Yeah, it kind of worries me about the volatility of the backfield and of the wide receiver core, just in general with fantasy now.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the Patriots guys are going to be more boom bust than they were before, just because they have so many mouths to feed in their receiving game over there.
It's like the Chiefs now.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a good comparison, I think.
Yeah. So
All
we'll
right.
see how it goes.
Alec, good game, my friend. You're old. And we're going to go on into the Peter and Megan matchup. Payton, you can take it away for this one.
So, Megan, at least bouncing back from the sub-100 club. Devontae Adams finally showing up. But Peter still took the win over Megan. Peter's team was solid, led by the highest scoring RB in the first 2 weeks of fantasy with Eckler, who we knew had potential, but is being used a lot more than I think either of us thought.
Yeah, like
Justin
we said
Jackson's
last week,
too,
we expected the split to be more even with him and Justin Jackson, but Eckler's come out and just dominated.
I'm pretty sure Jackson got a monster run called back too, but even then, these guys are. I mean, they're both putting up sizable fantasy numbers at least, but Eckler's definitely leading the charge and is a freak right now. I'm pretty sure Peter has him on both teams, which is painful. And then Megan had Duke Johnson, who absolutely did not see enough usage.
Yeah, the whole Texans team was a little bit off this week.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, that game and just in general was a nightmare.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like. Jimmy Graham with the goose egg and good old Vinatieri with the one who I think is going to retire.
Everyone thought that he was going to retire. He said something ominous to a reporter, talking about how
said,
you'll hear from me tomorrow.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Like,
what? But then the Colts head coach has come out since and said that Vinatieri will be kicking for them on Sunday. So who knows?
Huh. Yeah. He's a kind of a question mark. The whole team's kind of a question mark right now. But I mean, got the dub. They look better than I thought they would, especially T.Y.
Yeah, I think Brisket's actually doing better than most people thought that he would do. He's not doing bad. Yeah, the brisket boy leading the Brisket Bunch to a slightly better season than they had imagined, I'm guessing.
I think Megan definitely has the ability to grab a win in the next, either this week or next week in this league with some of her weapons, Gurley, Boyd, Adams, Russell. I mean, she had decent numbers from some and bad numbers from others, but Peter's team is just producing on all fronts.
Yeah, for sure. Also, she has Tyreek Hill coming back eventually, so that
whatever
playing
that
Tyler
happens.
Boyd in her flex at that point, I'd guess.
Tyler Boyd with 22 too. I mean,
Yeah, super
122
solid.
receiving yards on 10 receptions. Gnarly.
Super solid from Tyler Boyd. I imagine she's gonna take Duke Johnson out this week.
Yeah.
Put Derrick Henry up in that RB2 slot, and then flex someone like Mecole Hardman or DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I think that's what you do. No, I don't think Duke Johnson sees a starting lineup for a while. He's too much of a wild card.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
We'll move on to the next matchup.
Scopa taking on Matt Rich and beating him by about 17 points. Scopa moves to 1-1. Matt Rich moves to 0-2. And let me tell you, well, first of all, Scopa had the highest score of the week in redraft with 137.82.
And somehow didn't get beat.
Yeah.
I'm proud of him.
So Matt Rich had the Patriots defense, 37 points. They had 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 7 sacks, and allowed 0 points.
God, that is ridiculous. That is a ridiculous stat line.
They dropped 37 points, and Matt Rich still lost by 17, which is crazy to think about. But then you look and see Christian McCaffrey, who is usually locked and loaded for 20-plus points, dropped 7.3 on the back of the Panthers' absolutely abysmal game. And he also had Cam Newton. So the Panthers really are at fault here for the most part for Matt Rich's loss. And then he's also got Damian Williams, who just they're running the Kansas City running back situation is kind of a nightmare right now with him and LaShawn McCoy pretty much splitting work equally.
And they're both not healthy now, is the thing. They're both nursing injury.
They both got a little bit banged up in this past week. So maybe it's Darwin Thompson time.
And even if it is, I mean, they're throwing it. Mahomes is throwing it so much now, and even at which is surprising faster rate. It's hard. It blows my mind that he's throwing even better than he was last year.
It's crazy.
He's a freak, and it's just like a different. It genuinely looks like he's playing against like a different team than everybody else has to play.
Yeah,
every time
he put up 31 points this week. Just it's expected at this point that he's dropping at least like 25 points.
Yeah,
the dude is simply a freak.
Yep, and he, for many reasons, as well as putting ketchup on his steak, which is disgusting.
Yeah, that is gross to me as well. Scopa had Alshon Jeffrey with the goose, but still pulled out the win. Marriage had a lot of players underperform. Yeah, Alshon Jeffrey was out of the game completely early on.
What was up with about half of the Eagles starting lineup getting hurt at one point and either coming back or just being done?
That's the reason that Zach Ertz had so many targets this past week, because the Eagles' entire receiving core outside of like Nelson Aguilar was injured at some point during the game.
They were. Even Wentz came out. Like everybody was just getting demolished.
Yeah, it was a weird game. It's been a weird week in terms of just the volume of injuries.
I would know that firsthand, as half my team is on the bench.
Yeah, of course, you for sure would know that. But Matt Rich, 0-2. We're going to talk a little bit more about Matt Rich's record in the trash talk. But next up, we're going to talk about Payton and Taylor's matchup. Take it away.
First of 2 Rawlison brother matchups, I think.
I didn't even
play in
put that in the notes for this one. This is a Rawlison brother showdown,
in which I lost, and Taylor's team bounces back after him being certain almost that both his teams needed to be dropped after week 1. pure week one panic coming from Taylor last week, but Galladay shows up with 25.7 points. Both of Taylor's starting RBs show up as well. Aaron Jones at 25 and getting a lot more touches and a lot more yardage than I think anybody thought. I think people thought that the Packers backfield was kind of just going to be the Packers backfield, and he'd be like a fringe RB2 or fringe RB1, but he showed up.
Yeah, especially after that 4.9 point performance in week one. I guess the Packers kind of just came out looking a little bit better on all fronts. Like last week, they just absolutely blew it. Absolutely horrible game. They had one drive where they scored a touchdown, and then outside of that, it was just a slog the whole game. Neither offense, the Packers and the Bears were not making anything happen on offense, but they look better this week.
And now only one of those offenses looks terrible, and surprisingly, it's not the Packers. It's the Bears.
Yeah, Mitch Trubisky, get out of here, my man.
I think in week 3, if he doesn't show up, I'm declaring him bust potential, and I have him in one league, and I think I'm throwing him.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that one.
Yeah, Aaron Jones picking up a touchdown. Lamar Jackson definitely deserves better from both of my teams because he put up 30.8 for me. Chubb shows up. The rest of it, Sammy, Thielen, Evans. I mean, new offensive strategy for Thielen, which means he's probably going to see less receptions throughout the year, which is terrifying since I have him in both the leagues. And Evans just has a terrible quarterback. As simple as that. Yeah.
Adam Thielen, the Vikings are clearly looking to run first, as you can see by the production that Dalvin Cook has had. The offense is clearly running through him. And then Mike Evans, the Buccaneers just, on offense, they look horrible. Jameis Winston is terrible. People were saying that under Bruce Arians, he was going to have a sort of resurgence after going through training camp and having another offseason to work on his throwing, but he just looks as bad as he's ever looked.
Yeah, he looks god-awful, and I don't think Evans is not good enough. I think that he's blown up a little bit. He's going to get covered more, but I don't think he's not good enough to be in wide receiver 1 range, but he cannot survive with the quarterback that he has got right now.
Bruce Arians, if you're listening to this,
of course,
if you want to motivate Jameis Winston, just tell him for every W that he eats, you will provide him with some crab legs to eat after the game.
Jameis Winston and the crab leg scandal, dude.
And that's locked and loaded. This man will go to insane lengths for some crab legs.
A championship.
Oh, maybe the Super Bowl. If I'm telling you, if they put in this crab leg buffet after every game that he wins, that's Jameis Winston going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh, dude, 100% fueled by crab legs. You think he'd be able to? I think he'd be able to afford it now, but maybe not.
You never know.
What's going on there? It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare there. That game, Bucks games I don't want to watch Bucks or Panthers or Dolphins games the rest of the year.
I think everyone's with you on that.
But we'll hop to the next game before I get even more depressed about how bad my teams are. With Maloney and Neon matchup.
Maloney beat Neon 120-112. Maloney moves up to 2-0. Neon falls to 1-1. Maloney. So an interesting thing I saw in this game was that Maloney had Julian Edelman, who dropped a little over 9 points, and Neon had Josh Gordon, who dropped 3.9 points. And that's what we were talking about earlier, how AB just produced way more than anyone expected him to this week. Kinda took the lion's share of the Patriots passing offense this week.
I think it'll stay like that, to be honest. I'd be concerned if I had either. I think Edelman is what I'm less concerned about because he owns the middle of the field and he owns short passes for first downs and he can get yardage. Josh Gordon survives on deep routes, and AB can do that too. So, and AB's got better hands.
Yeah, I would definitely say that Edelman is more safe than Josh Gordon, just because Tom Brady loves to dink and dunk it up the field, and Edelman and James White are his two go-to guys for those short gains that he likes to throw.
There's also the chance that I'm completely wrong, and AB being on the field frees up Gordon in later games, but they played the Dolphins. and he
Yeah.
got 3 points.
So that's why I was saying earlier that I think it's going to be a lot more boom bust, because I could see AB and Josh Gordon kind of taking turns having the huge weeks.
It just
Because
scares me.
they're both just so talented.
Yeah, if I was an owner, I'd be a little worried just because it's hard to predict. But I mean, if you have either of them, you're starting them.
Yeah,
It's as simple
for
as that. You
sure.
paid a certain price for them. Maybe Gordon a little bit less, but Edelman and AB, you paid a price for them. Even with AB's controversy, you're starting them.
Yeah, for sure. And then for Neon, a few unfortunate performances. Vance McDonald with 22.8 points. A lot of people looking at you, Mike, right? We're hyped up for Vance going into the season, saying that with those targets that AB would be vacating, he would be one of the beneficiaries looking to step in and actually blow up this year. So huge game out of him, and we'll see if he keeps it up in the future.
With a backup.
I'd say that helps Vance.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I think that somebody just now getting their legs back on the field, I think he's a big body and he's kind of a target that's easy to see and he can get open, especially in the red zone. I think he's actually going to benefit from Big Ben not being on the field. Not so much Juju, though.
And then also letting Neon down, I have here in the notes, Vance danced and Mac slacked. Marlon Mack with 8.3 points, 51 yards on the ground, 2 receptions for 12 yards. That easily could have been a salvage week if he had a touchdown. I think Marlon Mack will definitely be a little bit touchdown dependent.
Yep.
Moving forward, just because he doesn't catch a ton of passes. And their offense is, I would say, somewhere in the middle tier this year.
Yeah.
With Jacoby Brissett, which is good. It could have been trash tier.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that were
Brissett
worried
will be good enough.
There's a lot of people worried about Mac's production, and I think he's seen a lot more than I would have thought, and a lot of people I think predicted him to see. He's getting the touches. It's just a matter of him converting and averaging decent yards per carry.
Yeah, I think he's a pretty solid RB2 with RB1 upside every week, just depending on that touchdown.
And as long as you're not playing the Bears.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's an absolute no-go against the Bears. Like he's the exact type of running back you do not want to play against the Bears.
I don't know if they play them. I don't even know if they're in the same. I don't know. I'm curious. You can keep going.
They do not play the Bears.
Huh. Okay, thank Christ, because I have Mac in the league.
And then for Maloney, Julio touchdown Jones put up 27.6 points, 2 receiving touchdowns on 5 receptions for 106 yards. Of course, Julio touchdown Jones earned that nickname last season after he did not have a single touchdown through the first 8 or 9 weeks, and then after that he was scoring a touchdown every game.
Yeah, and now he's got Dose.
And now he's got 2 in 1 game. That's awesome. It's a great.
The boy got paid.
Oh yeah, the boy got paid, and he came and played.
Well said.
Thank you. All right, on to the next matchup: Crispy and Ariana.
Crispy joins the sub 100 club after being recognized for highest score of the week in the first week of the redraft league, with 82.32 points. It was a bad week for his team in redraft. Both his starting QB and his name dying for at least the next 6 weeks, with Breeze being out, putting up 0.52 points, and is now undergoing thumb surgery, correct?
Yeah, he has some torn ligaments in his thumb.
Yeah, and on top of that, that's part of his Kamara stack. Kamara with 7 points, Latavius Murray with 3 points. The Saints left Crispy out to dry, big time.
I didn't even notice that he played Kamara and Latavius Murray. He just played the whole Saints backfield.
Yeah.
Which honestly isn't that bad of a play.
Yeah, isn't terrible. But Breeze.
But just an unfortunate game to have done it.
There's so many QB injuries, but out of all the QBs that are either being switched or teams that are bringing in backups right now, I think the Saints, they have a good backup, but I'm concerned. for Kamara and Murray's production, and even Michael Thomas's production. I don't think they go in the dumpster, but
I would say Michael Thomas the most, just because Breeze and Michael Thomas have that insane connection.
Yeah, Kamara's going to see touches. He can still blow up for monster plays. I don't think he drops below like a 16, 17 point average, but I definitely still think it affects his production because he is reliant on receptions every once in a while.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's when he has those monster games, is when they're dumping it out to him in the flat.
And then he drops 40 and gives me a random loss from Rich last season.
Oh man. All right. Are we on to the trash talk?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's get to it.
This is the segment we've all been waiting for. We're going to start with me and Ariana's matchup next week. This is the redraft trash talk, of course. We're going to move into Dynasty after this. But my message for Ariana is, I'm going to kill you in fantasy like I'm going to have to kill your boyfriend in the future to prevent the robot uprising. And for those of you that don't know, Maloney is her boyfriend, and he is currently studying robotics at Stanford.
It's a noble cause.
Yeah, so I always tell Maloney that one day I'm going to have to kill him to shut down the robots that he sicks on humanity.
Exactly. It's a noble cause, dude. You got to do what you got to do.
And then you want to read Ariana's one for me?
Yeah, Ariana says to Tyler, I'm gonna give you something to cry about on your podcast next week. Any thoughts?
Well, that was just rude, first of all. If I lose both games, I may cry on the podcast, and you guys will just have to listen to it.
If I lose both games again, I will cry on this podcast.
Honestly, I'm kind of rooting for that at this point.
I swear. Oh, man.
You're in a rough spot.
I am. I'm struggling.
All right, and then we had Taylor and Peter both coming in with trash talk. Taylor says to Peter, I beat Payton with O.J. Howard. Imagine what I'll do to you with points in my tight end spot.
I'd like to add something to that.
Yeah.
No. A tweet with from a quote from Arians comes from Roto World that says, Arian says to OJ Howard, he says, the balls will come.
Okay, interesting.
An hour ago. So I think you should start OJ again, Taylor.
I don't know. I don't think that he should. But I'm interested to see who Taylor is going to grab off of waivers that he thinks is going to get him points at tight end. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, bro, I stole the best tight end on the waiver wire, which is Eifert, who actually got a touchdown and then did nothing else.
But hey, that's great for you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect him to get any points.
And then Peter's message for Taylor, a little bit rough on this one.
This one's a little tough.
A little bit raw. Peter says, people are going to start calling you Gaylor because my team is going to smooch you so hard.
I got no comment.
Yeah, I think we can just move on after that.
This one's mean too.
Okay. Can you click off that in the Google Doc? Okay, I can't read. Can't see it. All right. This is the best. This is my favorite one in either of the leagues. Crispy says to Matt Rich, your win-loss record as a manager is not good. This is not the week it'll improve. And for the record, if you go to Matt Rich's profile on Yahoo, the man's record is 2-17. He has a 10.5% win rate as a manager on Yahoo.
As of right now, I have a 0% win rate.
Okay, well, that is something else. I'm not. Listen, that's some ammo for your opponent next week. But Matt Rich, 2-17, so you must have played another season on Yahoo, and it must have gone terribly. I'm eager to hear about this.
I'm curious on what his team was. It was probably last year in his work week. They probably played Yahoo.
I'm guessing that's what it has to be, and
he got one.
It looks like he got absolutely dumpstered. Yeah, I got to see this team. So, Marich, please update all of us on this travesty that is your record. And next up, we had Neon talking to Megan. And Neon said, okay, to preface this, Neon is old. Okay? He's an old man. So Neon said, first I'm going to take the W this week, and then your Social Security. Which I think is a good one.
I'm glad he's owning it.
Yeah, I agree. If you remember last week, my roast towards Neon was an old person joke. So he's definitely coming out and owning it. It's the way to do it.
He's taking fuel from the fire, dude. So we can't roast him on it.
All right. Now Maloney.
I don't like this one.
Maloney had a message for Payton.
This one actually hurt my feelings.
Maloney says, you seem like the kind of manager that thinks that Tom Brady is washed up and then is shocked when your incredibly knowledgeable picks can't win a fantasy game. That's just brutal.
It hurt my feelings. It's as simple as that. I hope you could sleep well at night knowing that you hurt my feelings.
And that just goes a level deeper when you think that Payton is in 3 leagues this year and has won 0 games thus far. He's a combined 0-6 at the moment.
I can't say anything is the worst part. Like, even my trash talk is like, it's hard to trash talk. Last year I was thrown down. This year, not so much.
A lot of big downfalls this week. Crispy going from highest scoring to lowest scoring, and Payton going from Super Bowl champion of our league last year to being...
He recognizes it. He recognizes it.
The dumpster trash can in all 3 of his leagues. It's crazy to think about.
You recognize my Super Bowl.
No, absolutely. You got the wrong guy. That was my cat.
Yeah?
Yep.
Little Chubs.
All right, you want to read yours for Maloney?
Yeah, Maloney, you ready for this? I said, Maloney, more like bologna, because your team smells like processed meat.
Oh!
That's all I got. That's all I got to say.
That's a really good one. I think
that's all I gotta say to you.
Maloney's team is going into this week with 50% less morale after hearing that comment on their manager.
I catch the W on Maloney. It's a fact.
We shall see. And that concludes our coverage of the Redraft League. We're going to go ahead and move into the Dynasty League, starting with me and Neon matching up. And listen, Neon. Pat's D. That's all I got to say. 37 points from the Patriots D, and I didn't squander it like Matt Rich and lose by 17. I ended up winning by 22. I advanced to 1-1, and Neon falls to 1-1. So evened out the records there. It was... Oh, I also had the highest score of the week in the Dynasty League. So congrats to me.
Is this the Dalvin and the Chipmunks?
No, Dalvin and the Chipmunks is my redraft team.
Or is it the Chipmunk? Because you can't fit
it's
it, right?
Dalvin and the Chipmunk, singular. Because I can't fit the or Chipmunks.
Yep.
So I did my best.
If you had Alvin, you could have just done Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah, that's true.
Straight up.
Maybe I'll have to trade for Kamara.
Make a 1-for-1.
Kiki Kuti for Kamara. I think it's Scopa who has him. Hit me up.
That seems fair.
This matchup, me versus Neon, was a clash of the tight end titans. We had Travis Kelce on my team dropping 23.7. Vance McDonald on his team dropping 22.8. He unfortunately also had Ben Roethlisberger, who went out with the elbow injury after putting up a measly 3 points.
This is the end of the mid-2000 quarterbacks, I think.
A lot of them falling. They're dropping.
I think Big Ben. I would hope for, as a Bengals fan and as an onlooker to the Steelers organization this year, that Big Ben retires.
I did not know the Bengals had fans.
I don't know what you're talking about. I never said that.
And my dynasty team name is just Joshin because of the two faces of my franchise, Josh Jacobs and Josh Allen. Josh Allen came in and picked up a little bit of the slack this week with 22.22 points. Josh Jacobs dropped 9.9, which is a little bit rough. And I think that Josh Jacobs is unfortunately going to be a little bit game script dependent.
Yep.
Last week he did have the long catch. It was like 20. He had like one reception for 27 yards or something. This week he did not have any receptions. So if the Raiders are playing from behind like they were always going to be against Kansas City, let's be real. I think that Josh Jacobs unfortunately will have a lot lower share of their offense.
It's scary to think that you have to worry about your running backs with the Chiefs, not because of their front line, but because of how hard Mahomes airs it out. And then everybody else just has to air it out. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Against the Chiefs, you just gotta go in saying, okay, so what will my running back's productivity be like if they're down by 18 points? Because that's what it is.
In the passing game, then you might be all right. But if they're not, you're not going to be all right, probably.
Yeah, you're in trouble for sure. All right, you want to talk you and Peter's matchup?
Yep. I caught another loss against Peter's dynasty team, which looks terrifying, to say the least. Julio Jones, Bob Woods, McCaffrey, Marlon Mack. He's got Eckler on his team. His running back core looks fierce, to say the least. Even with McCaffrey and Mack not really showing up, Eckler still brought him home. Like I said before, Action Jackson deserves better. Dropping 30 points on my team. The rest of my team decided to take the week off, I guess. Njoku with 0 injured. Mixon with 5.
Yeah, Njoku caught the monster concussion.
Yeah, I thought he broke his neck for a second.
Yeah, that looked rough.
I was like, he's done. And he was, but I don't think it's as severe as it could have been with, 200 plus pounds dropping on your neck sideways like that?
Yeah,
he took flight.
It was scary looking.
And then the most infuriating part of all of my low production players is Carson with 9.7 because of King Boomer Carroll benching him after ball control issues. And 60. He had 60 rushing yards, 3 receptions for 27 receiving yards. I think he could have done more, maybe not, but it's disappointing. I pray to God Carroll doesn't keep doing that, and I pray that Carson holds on to the damn ball.
I think that if I have him in redraft, and I'm also nervous that if he doesn't hold on to the ball in the future, that Carroll will go ahead and give Rashad Penny way more work, which is terrifying.
Yeah, I'm scared.
You also barely avoided the sub 100 club. You had 101.18 points.
God bless. I'll take that as my small victory. I have this in my notes, which we already touched on a little bit, but we talked about Evans and Tampa Bay and the issues at quarterback, and if you're worried about Evans not producing as much now, which I certainly am, could you say the same for McCaffrey now with Newton? I mean, he's getting overthrown by Newton constantly anytime that he goes out on a run or out on a route.
There are now rumors that Cam Newton might not even be starting this weekend with a foot injury, and I thought that Will Grier was his backup, and I thought we'd get to see some Will Grier action.
The Nash lads?
But no, it's Kyle Allen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah. So if
Texas A&M and the Houston Cougars.
So if Cam Newton's out this week, we get to see Kyle Allen. And honestly, I'm a lot less worried about McCaffrey than I am about Mike Evans because McCaffrey is just a freak show. And I think with the schemes that they run, a rookie quarterback will be dumping it off to McCaffrey so many times.
I don't think I've been as excited to see some of these offenses as I will be this weekend just due to the amount of question marks. And also Ravens-Chiefs game, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Is that prime time?
I can check right now. 1 second. It is at 1. It's one of the 1 o'clock games.
Wow, that's awful.
It's in Kansas City, too.
Yeah, going into this weekend, it's definitely going to be... We're going to see some weird games this week, for sure.
The Chiefs-Ravens game is either going to be super low scoring somehow, or it's going to be a 100-point game, I feel like.
Yeah,
Just
I agree.
blowout.
I'm hoping it's a 100-point game.
So am I. That would be amazing. Even if it cost me a loss. Just like when we watched the Rams Chiefs last year. That was my favorite football game I've watched in a long time.
Sick. That was an awesome game.
Yep, but McCaffrey was probably my last note on them. I mean, I think he'll turn it around. I'm a little more worried about his production. I think his projection will actually go down some, especially considering I didn't know the Cam Newton news. But I mean, his passer rating he didn't have a lot of touches, but his passer rating on the Panthers, the backup, isn't terrible. So we'll see.
We will see. All right, moving into the next matchup, we had Scopa losing to Crispy, and this was a very special loss. Scopa is the first recipient of the Close But No Cigar Award for losing by less than 1 point. Scopa lost to Crispy by 0.66 points. And Crispy is the Dynasty recipient of the Isaiah Crowell Croho Nation Slam Sedan Award of the Week for Best Running Back, which was Dalvin Cook.
Monster. I feel like Scopa is on the receiving end of heartbreak losses too much.
Honestly, he is. This is brutal. And the biggest contributor to this loss by Scopa has got to be Alvin Kamara with 7 points. If you told Scopa going into this week that if Alvin Kamara gets 8 points, he wins, he'd be like, "Oh, cool. Who am I facing next week? I won."
He's gonna put up 30.
Yeah, but it's so crazy to lose by a margin so small.
Yeah, I've heard people in other leagues I've played they don't like decimal scoring, but this is the reason.
Oh, you gotta have decimal scoring.
Yeah, I'm not trying to tie ever, even if it's by 0.1.
Yeah,
it is a heartbreaker though. I feel for Scopa.
Scopa now 0-2. Crispy advances to 2-0 on the season, and Crispy's team looked terrible. Like Crispy's team looked awful. Scopa just blew it 0.66 points harder.
Yep.
Crispy had Jarvis Landry with 6.2 points. Damian Williams with 8.6 points.
Didn't Jarvis Landry have like a monster catch called back? Or am
I did not watch the whole game.
The game was a shit show. I didn't watch the whole game.
I shut it off at halftime, went to bed. It was not.
Yep.
It was not the type of game I was going to stay up for.
Especially games are lacking.
Especially because I had all my matchup was done on both my matchups, so I didn't care.
Yeah, mine was basically done when I watched Njoku break his neck.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was rough hit for sure. Next matchup is Matt Rich and Maloney.
Matt Rich secures the W.
His second W of all time on Yahoo.
Yeah, I know. Unbelievable. 125 to 119. Matt Ryan puts up some serious numbers as well as Chubb in the nightmarish Monday night game that we just talked about. Carrion and Boyd putting up projection-topping numbers. Surprised by Carrion, more surprised by Boyd, especially with how bad that scoreline looks for the Bengals. The fact that he put up those numbers is pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I had him last year, and he still put up serious numbers, but I was concerned, and there's reason to be concerned that he wasn't going to produce with AJ gone, and finally he did. Put up some serious numbers.
And carry on, the news just came out that the Lions dropped CJ Anderson.
And he's still got one more running back to compete with, but I'm hoping this means that he gets goal line carries. And honestly, I don't even have him. But.
I would love for that to happen for the Carrion Johnson owners out there, but I think Matt Patricia will find a way to fuck it up.
Yep.
For Carrion Johnson for sure.
It's bait.
I feel like this could be bait. People are very excited about it. I feel like it could not work out that well.
I mean, if he keeps putting on numbers like this, it's all right.
Yeah, that's definitely. He's kind of like a Marlon Mack type where he needs that TD.
Yeah, man, he looked elusive. He
looks great. He looks great when he plays. But Matt Patricia just loves to not give him the workhorse role for some reason.
It's the story of D-Mop, man.
The Mop Man, for sure.
It's the same thing.
But Carry-On's had it going on for a couple years now.
Yep. I'm
so
terrified.
hopefully the Mop Man, that's David Montgomery for those unaware at home.
David Mopportunity.
Hopefully the Mop Man figures it out. Well, I mean, I guess it'd be
Nagy.
Yeah, Matt Nagy that's got to figure it out. But
Nagy figures it out. He's looking tough right now.
Maloney's got to feel bad losing by a little over 5 points and having OJ Howard drop the goose.
The balls will come.
Hey,
that's all I gotta say.
The balls will come. They haven't come yet, but they will come, apparently. Apparently they will come. All right, moving on to our next matchup, the last matchup of the week. It is the Battle of the Rollison Brothers Part 2. The first was Payton and Taylor in the redraft, and now we have
the lesser of the two brothers.
Taylor beating Alec. Taylor advancing to 1-1. Alec falling to 1-1. Taylor beat him by a little over 5 points. And Taylor's team had a week.
Yeah, dude.
They had a week.
I told him he drafted well. He was terrified. I was like, you got this, bro.
Odell with 28. Zeke with 20. Aaron Jones with 25. His tight end Ingram put up 10.8, which is solid for a tight end at this point.
Points is solid for a tight end at this point, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
I think Ingram's
Speaking of tight ends, are you in the Dynasty League? Do you need the best tight end in the league? Travis Kelce is on the trading block. Hit me up with your offers.
Is this how we do this?
Sorry, that was a word from our sponsor, myself.
I got nothing.
Alec has got to feel bad with D-Hop dropping 9 points.
Stone Cold Steve Hopkins.
Stone Cold DeAndre Hopkins.
Kind of not looking as good as he did last year.
And Deshaun Watson also, that stack just didn't work out for him this week. If they had connected for a couple more passes, he would have handily won this game.
Houston facing the Chargers next week too, so we'll see what happens. They could go either way. It's kind of like some of those. They both got strong offenses, but there could be another defensive matchup.
All right. Congratulations to Taylor. Had a good week. And we're going to move into the Dynasty Trash Talk. Starting with me and Peter. Peter, here's what I got to say to you, bro. We're both going to be 2-1 after this week, but the big difference between us is that you are a shithead. I, of course, am 1-1. Peter is 2-0. So I'm going to catch this W, even out the records.
Is our sponsor yourself going to be all right with curse words?
Yeah, we're all clear. I got the A. Okay, yeah.
All right.
Talk to their HR department.
Well, I'll read Peter's for you. So Peter said to Tyler, "You are a goblin, and your defense won't bail you out against the best fantasy football team." That's goblin for you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's the second week in a row I've been called the goblin. And I just want to say, you say my defense won't bail me out, but it's the Patriots defense against the Jets. So, like, maybe, I mean, I would say that's the best defense play this week other than the Cowboys against the Dolphins. And also the best fantasy football team. I think that's a bit of a reach.
I don't know, man. Looks pretty solid.
Come on, bro. You can't be siding. You can't be siding with Peter right now.
Yeah, dude.
He can't defend himself. That's the point, bro. We got the platform. He doesn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Peter, you suck, man.
Yes, thank you. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Next up, we had Taylor and Maloney. And when Taylor was sending me his trash talks, he actually sent a non-trash talk for his opponent, Maloney. He said, I ain't talking shit in Dynasty, LOL. My team is a basket case.
I like the censorship there.
Thank you. I figured we got to tone it down. The sponsors actually just got in the earpiece here and said it was a little too much.
This yourself got in the earpiece?
Yeah. Well, the HR department, you know?
There's a war in your head, huh?
No, just different departments. So right now, this is the CEO talking. But, you know, we got the marketing department up there, the HR department.
Up where?
Up, you know, just up in the brain office.
I think we may need to. We may need to go see somebody.
All right, next up, we got Maloney talking to Taylor, and he's going to go ahead and he says, to quote the great Crispy, who used this same line last week, Baker Mayfield, overrated. Very simple, very efficient. It's seemingly very true.
Baker Mayfield 4 points short on his projection this week. 2 weeks in a row, he's been short. You know who would be short every week?
Don't want to hear it.
Kyler Murray.
God. Why does Kyler Murray got to have my name with a K and also be short, bro? Come on.
Runs in the family, man.
Figure it out, bro. All right, you want to read Crispies for Alec?
Oh, dude, this is my favorite.
Yeah, I figured that's why I'd let you read it.
So Crispy said to Alec, like Korea during the Korean War, your team will be subjected to devastating carnage from forces outside of its control, and all memory of it will be intentionally wiped from our history books. God bless America. That's my own addition.
Yeah. And I would say that's a really good one, but I would say, Crispy, you would hope that it won't be wiped from the history books.
Unless he's going for scorched earth policy or something, you know?
He might be. He might be just looking at every week like a new season. Like a crazy person. But I don't know. That's Crispy. That's kind of scary from Crispy. If I were Alec, I'd be scared right now.
I hope that each week it just gets longer and longer. Trash talk is just like an extra stanza.
He starts sending them poems.
We'll have a haiku week or something.
Oh, dude. I might send in a haiku next week.
Yeah, we could have themed trash talks. That'd be nice. Who knows?
And then Neon has got Matt Rich, and Neon actually also went for Matt Rich's career record as a manager on Yahoo, which I thought was funny.
Did they discuss this?
No, they did not. They did not. Neon messaged me his after Maloney texted me his, and I said Maloney went with the same theme on his. And Neon says to Matt Rich, that's a pretty poor career record for a guy named Rich. Just to remind you all, Matt Rich's record as a Yahoo manager is 2-17, 10.5% win rate.
I'll make a correction for you. It was Crispy that went after Matt Rich's win rate.
Oh, you're right. You are right. It was Crispy. You can go ahead and read this next one. It's devastating.
We'll end it off on a simple note. My trash talk to Scopa said, "Weeb."
Well said.
Let's bring Scopa's in here too, because he sent his in.
Did he send one for redraft as well?
No, he just talked about mine.
Okay.
He said, unless you would like to read it, I can send it to you. But
no, go ahead.
He said, I would like to tell the champs Crow Camp that the Crow will never fly again after I am done with him. I couldn't even make it through the sentence. It hurt my feelings so bad.
Honestly, a shot at the Crow is a shot at the whole league, if you ask me.
See, here's the thing. You can only go so far. You can only step over so many lines, but this line you cannot cross. The Crow is injured, and you know that, and you take a shot on him while he's down.
Yeah,
also, how is this dude still on a roster?
Because he's a beast.
He's super hurt. Isn't he on the Raiders?
Yeah, he's on the IR for the Raiders, but you got to think. When teams are thinking about cutting Isaiah Crowell, they don't just have to think about how much they're paying him and if he's worth it and if they think he can be productive when he comes back. They also have to think of the money they're saving with all the pizza Lunchables being thrown on the field that they collect after the game.
Feeding fans, solving world hunger.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, if you cut the Crow, you're
good PR.
it's bad PR because you're getting those pizza Lunchables thrown on the field. You're handing them out to homeless people outside the stadium, and it's just a generally a good look.
Besides when he wipes his ass with a football in the Jet Stadium.
Yeah, that was brutal for sure. That was, I mean, the Jets though, trash.
So bad. And shout out to Myles Garrett for almost murdering what looked like a substitute teacher on the field.
Oh no, dude, substitute
that dude literally
teacher
looks like a substitute teacher.
Oh man, bro, yeah, that was brutal.
I'm curious on what the Jets opening line is, but the Dolphins opening line against the boys is terrible.
Yeah, it's
21 point.
The Dolphins are the worst NFL team that we've seen in the past few years for sure. They are downright horrible.
You see in the NBA sometimes where teams will like genuinely like own up to tanking, and I guess the NFL teams will do it sometimes, but I don't think I've ever seen it so fierce.
Yeah,
they
Dolphins,
already know the season's over.
It's so clear that they are not interested in even trying to win a game. And I personally love it. Listen, They just got Ryan Fitzpatrick in there, just chucking it. And they got Kalen Ballage dodging passes like he's in the Matrix.
Just somehow not being able to catch anything.
Yeah, it's insane.
They'll own half the first round by the end of this. Especially if they get rid of Drake too. Which, if you're a Drake owner, you pray to God that he gets traded right now.
Oh yeah, because he's not doing anything on the Dolphins.
No. Get him out.
All right. I think that is going to do it for this week's edition of Dude Pigskin. Everybody, good luck in your matchups. Please send me your trash talk for next week. I know it's early. Haiku. Maybe make it a haiku. Maybe get creative with it. Maybe make a music video. All right? Let's get weird.
Make a play.
And make a one-man play would be great.
Sock puppet play.
I think once we get into the playoffs, people are going to start doing some ridiculous stuff.
I got to win a game, man, and I promise you I'm in there.
Oh, I mean,
I've got it. But I just cannot win.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for being in a league with us clowns. We appreciate it. And we will see you next Tuesday. That was not meant to be rude, but it was. All right. Good night, everybody.